Welcome to the Mind Rise podcast, the catalyst that takes you from who you are right now to all that you can become. Hey guys, I'm excited to have you join me for this episode of the Mind Rise podcast. We've got founder of Rize Run Club, Jessica Ball, joining us for a candid conversation about getting back up again and what it takes to find ourselves in positions where we have to pivot, where we have to bet on ourselves, and where we really have to master our mindset to get outside of our comfort zone. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and as always, leave us a review. And without further ado, enjoy the pod. Here we are, everyone. We're finally recording. This is the first time I've ever made this mistake. And I'm so excited to have Jess on today with us. Jess and I met through Rize Run Club, and a run club that apparently I've joined. She's informed me that I've joined it. I keep showing up. We'll see.
You have joined. You have joined. It's official.
Those blisters last week and then my search for socks. Like those two things have me saying, I'm not doing it. I'm not going on Tuesday. I'm never going. But right before I realized that we hadn't hit record, Jess and I were talking about the mindset of things. And I kind of want to jump back to that moment. So bring everybody to where you and I are at in this conversation, where I love it, where you're starting a run club because you need it. And the head noise is loud. No one's going to show up. Everyone's going to be faster than me. You know, I'm an imposter, comparison syndrome that we all go through. So drop us into what that was like, because you're nailing it. Like, we get so worried about something, and sometimes that holds us back from even doing it all together.
Yeah. So just starting something in general, whatever it may be, any idea that you had that we talked about earlier, is intimidating. It's scary. You're looking at all the other things that are going on that people would be more interested in, and you're talking so negatively about it. You're like, no one's going to come. No one's going to care about what I'm doing. So I guess for me, what made me jump and actually do it was trying to quiet that noise and quiet those negative self-talk is so real, and imposter syndrome is so real. But for me, I focused on what I needed. I was like, I need to do this for me. I need to get back out there and running. And I want to meet people. I want to meet people in the running community. Like, I want to make friends. I want to be social again, because post-COVID, we're still struggling with getting out and meeting people face to face and not relying on our phones or relying on social media apps and stuff like that to connect with people. So it was a big push for me to push myself out of my own comfort zones, postpartum, post baby, to get past that imposter syndrome postpartum, which if you've had a baby, you know, anybody who has knows, you don't feel like yourself. You don't like, not even appearance wise, you just don't feel like yourself anymore. And so finding that momentum and like drive to get back to things you enjoyed before, it was huge. Right. So that was the big push and thread for me to kind of quiet that noise and be like, you need this for you. It's not just a fun idea. If people want to come, they're going to come. If they see other people coming and having fun, then they'll come, and that's great. You're going to be out there regardless. So you might as well put yourself out of your comfort zone and meet other people who like to run and wake up early and drink coffee, and all of those things will come in fruition as you go. That was the biggest motivator for me, was just, I wanted to come out of that like postpartum syndrome of like, who am I? What did I enjoy before this? And everything that entails.
Absolutely. Which is, I mean, it's both physical and mental at that point, because postpartum, your body just isn't what it used to be.
It isn't, at all.
No. And for me, my mindset, like I went from just, doing my own thing for 30 something years. And now I'm keeping this Tamagotchi alive, is what I was just like, right? Keep this kid alive. I remember
Tamagotchi.
100%. I was like, feed it, but you gotta go to sleep. I don't know. You're pooping now. It was just, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I remember like this first few weeks, I mean, it wasn't exactly like a postpartum depression, but it was definitely when is this kid's parents coming? Like, this is the world's longest babysitting job. Like, surely I cannot be, like, I'm really not in charge. Like, that's just how much of a departure it was from the life that I had spent 3 decades building.
Right.
Now it changes, and I'm with you. It could be an echo chamber where you're just like, I need other people.
Yeah, you
And
do.
our,
And you need that community. You need that support, regardless of what it is you're trying to get back into that you loved before. It's one of those things where, like I said, if I invite people to go do something and I plan it and somebody, anybody might show up, then I have to be there. I have to show up. So it was a forced, kind of like a forced comeback, a forced pull. Let me put myself in a situation where I can't make excuses, where I do have to go. Whether I am in the back of my own group, I don't even care because that just means I'm getting better. Those people are going to push me. Their pace is going to push me. I'm not going to want to sit in the back. I'm going to want to try and catch up and stay with them. So it was a forced kind of pull back into making friends, getting out, meeting other people who have similar interests, similar hobbies, and just kind of grew from there, which has been one of the most beautiful things that I've had in my life in the last year. It's crazy that it's been a year,
yes.
and like looking back where we started to coming up on a year is crazy, like not only in my running journey but just in all the people I've met, all the ways in which I've grown, the ways I've kind of like brought my kid into my hobby, which has been beautiful and fun. Like that's what I want to kind of highlight and support, like bringing yourself back out of a slump or like where you feel like you're stuck and bringing yourself back into movement and socialization and everything. It's been the best thing for me probably this year.
I love that. Well, and can we speak to that place of putting yourself on the line, right? I think that there it takes pressure to make diamonds. Like we know that. And at the same time, like life is always a paradox, and sometimes too much pressure is too much pressure.
Yeah.
But there is a secret sauce, I think, sometimes to putting some pieces in place. And I don't know that I'm finding the right language at the moment where we are putting a little bit of pressure, we're putting a little bit of accountability. Like people are showing up. I made this calendar, I put it out first of every month, like they're going to show up. I'm on the line. Can we
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? Because I think that there's something to that healthfully, when done healthfully,
Yeah.
helps us to push through on the hard days or the I don't want to do it days.
Yeah. So my motto in my life through all the different phases and pillars of my life, all the different changes has been, as long as I'm trying and I put myself in uncomfortable positions, I will grow. It's when I'm not putting myself out of my comfort zone that I feel stuck. And anytime I've felt stuck, I've looked at like my surroundings or my environment and I've been like, okay, I'm not challenging myself. I'm not doing enough to pressure myself into growth and into becoming something bigger or better than this phase. Maybe I've not necessarily mastered this phase because nobody's mastered anything really ever. You're always growing. But like I've completed this and I want to move forward. And so if I try and I fail drastically, at least I'm falling forward and not falling backward. So yeah, I find every phase of my life, I put myself in uncomfortable positions. And it is the hardest thing to do because of all the noise telling you you're comfortable where you are. You don't need to do this. No one's going to show up. All these things we've talked about, put yourself in that position and see what happens. Because if you fail, at least you're failing forward in like growing as you go. I think you need a little bit of that discomfort to really push you to your potential sometimes. So, yeah, I would say pressure in a healthy way is the best way to grow and kind of get yourself back into something. And say you do that and you don't like it or you find that it's not for you, no harm no foul, you put yourself in a different position or you try something else. And that's how you grow forward. If nobody put themselves in those positions, we wouldn't have any small business, we wouldn't have any clubs, we wouldn't have any friendships that we make in that process. You know what I mean? So I think pressure is, in a healthy way, the best way to get yourself out of situations.
Right, right, right. And I really loved your point around like when we do that, when we step outside of our comfort zone, that is our opportunity to grow. And we aren't growing very much when every day is Groundhog Day.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we always have to have our like foot on the gas pedal and like our hand on the throttle. I like to think about the word calibration, right? To know like, okay, I'm looking around and I loved how you said, I'm looking around my surroundings. If I feel stuck, take a look around. Like I
Yeah.
might just be stuck. I might just not be outside of my comfort zone.
Progressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not really stuck. There's nothing wrong with where you're at. You're just comfortable where you're at. So look for ways in which you can make yourself maybe slightly uncomfortable. I'm not saying every day. I'm not saying go to a million different things out of your comfort zone, but one small thing at a time, and you'll realize things about yourself you didn't even know or that maybe you forgot. Like with postpartum, there are things that you did in your life before that you forgot you cared about or you forgot you were interested in because your mind is hyper focused on, like you said, keeping your Tamagotchi alive.
Yes.
Like that is all you care about, right? And when you kind of step out of that in small bits, it pulls you out of this, like, I wouldn't even say depression, but like it pulls you out of that rut where you're like, I used to love doing this. Wow, I should be doing this more.
Right.
Or I missed being with my, like, I don't spend enough time with my friends, or I don't get to go out of town enough. Whatever it is, you get there and you remember those things by little steps and little pieces, not all at once. So yeah, I would say find little things that you can kind of tiptoe in and like put yourself like your toes in the kiddie pool a little bit of out of your comfort zone, and then full throttle it after you know how that feels and you kind of remember
Right.
where you're at, you know?
Right. 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 But this is also not your first rodeo in navigating either a setback or a pivot when it's come to different aspects of your life. So, can you tell us a little bit, like, take us back to college because I want to
Okay.
hear that story for sure.
Yeah. 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 So, no, definitely not. I would say I grew up, you know, I grew up in Northern Virginia. I grew up going to school I went to Richmond, VCU for college. So I spent 4 years there and just, I always felt constantly like I was searching for the next thing, you know, always looking ahead. And I would run. I like to exercise. I like to work out, but it was never like my main focus. I remember going to school and focusing heavily on what I wanted to do post college. And that was not all you think about when you're in college, right? You know, there's college is fun, you have your fun years, but that was such a heavy, intimidating thing post college. Like you need to graduate, you need to jump into your career, you need to go headfirst into what you were studying. And so that was the stereotypical path that I took. And I loved what I studied in school. I studied Homeland Security and criminal justice, which was very, very far from where I am at now. But that was a big passion of mine in school. I jumped right into a job post college. Great job for me, for my future, for all the stepping stones that you need to take. I found out very quickly that that was not going to be a lifestyle that I wanted for myself. I loved the job, I loved the career, I was passionate about it all, but it wasn't an active enough lifestyle. I found myself sitting at a desk 9 to 5, looking at 3 screens. I mean, the job was awesome. I won't lie. It was a very cool job. But I found myself living in where I grew up, doing the same things with the same people, doing all of the same things I was doing in high school and in college. It's just like there was no change, there was no growth. And every day was Groundhog Day. It was like, wake up, go to work, 9 to 5, look at a screen, go home, go to bed. It it put me into like a pit of depression that I didn't even know I could get into. I was in such a rut. And it was because I didn't like the lifestyle that that job was creating for me. The groundhog repetitive days were just not for me. I needed something to push myself out of my comfort zone. I wanted to grow. I wanted to be outdoors. I wanted to be active. I quit that job and it was the hardest thing to do because it was the picture perfect job for me at that point in my life and for my future in that career,
Right, right, right.
and had to learn very quickly how to come back from saying goodbye to something that I thought I wanted, and then very quickly realized was not working for my mental health and for my like physical needs of like moving my body. So that was one of the hardest as a 21-year-old. You know, you're young, you have your whole life ahead of you, but that was one of the like most detrimental, like the most challenging things a 21-year-old could face is like starting over from scratch,
Right.
having no idea where you want to go with your career, no idea where you want to live. It was like the epitome of pulling myself out of my comfort zone and pushing myself into anything that would make me uncomfortable so that I could learn what it was I actually wanted to do from there.
That's an important and very relatable for so many people. Yes, at 21, but I mean, so many of my clients, the conversations that we have, like this is relatable at 43, right?
Yeah.
It's relatable. You work so hard toward X. You arrive at X, da 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 da. And maybe it's not at all what you expected. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
God, gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Or even, I think just what you're talking about is even harder. Like it is what you expected. It's this
It was
creme de la creme,
everything.
great, this awesome job that you work so stinking hard for. You can almost
Mm-hmm.
like see the path laid out ahead of you of like, okay, you're doing this job, you're going to get this promotion, you're going to get this raise, here's the trajectory.
Yeah.
Like we're taking you to retirement. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh, it was
secure.
perfect.
Right, it's secure. And then we get this like, I don't know about you, and I'd be curious what was that dripping faucet or that itch where you're just like, this doesn't fit. And it's interesting, especially the angle you're coming at with this conversation, because a lot of times we feel like we can't leave. And we feel like if we were to leave, it's because the circumstances are really bad. Like, oh, I
Right.
can leave because my boss is,
A
you know,
jerk.
yeah, a jerk. Oh, I can leave because like this isn't at all. I'm actually not good at this. This isn't at all what I thought it was going to be. Like, I can leave because of that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to leave when you're actually good at
Yeah.
what you do, when you
Yeah.
actually enjoy it, but it's just not going to work for a lifestyle because you're
It's
right.
just not
We're not
serving
just
you.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. We're not just here to work and work and work and then die, right?
Right.
But it's about a lifestyle. So can you speak to that? Because that is particularly challenging and having to wrap your head around, okay, if not this, then what? Because
Yeah. Like
I'm not
what
hearing
from
that you had
here?
another career, like just knocking on the door and be like, oh no,
Yeah.
just actually you should like, I don't know, be a host on QVC or right, like actually it's brain surgery for you, right? It's
Yeah.
like there's oh no, it's this other job. So what was
Right.
that like? Like you're sitting there and there's your three screens and you're doing what you work so hard to do. You actually love it, like the job in and of itself,
Yeah.
but there's this itch, this just knowing. What was
Yeah.
that like?
I think for me, it was, yeah, like you said it, you hit it perfectly. The job was great. The people I worked with were great. Like I loved what I was doing. I just didn't love the lifestyle I had. And it was one of those things where every day I would go home and I'd be like, I would be an idiot to quit this job. I would be so dumb to do this. Why am I not happy? It was almost like figuring out, okay, everything is perfect. You have all of the chips have fallen perfectly for you. Why are you coming home and not happy? So I think the first inkling that I knew I needed to do something different was I wasn't happy when I was home. Like you're supposed to be happy when you get off work and go home and you have your circle of friends, you have like lifestyle hobbies, you have things that you do. So I was like, I'm not happy here. Like I don't have the community that I want. I can't do like I'm trying to go to different clubs. I'm trying to go like I'm trying boxing. I'm trying all these things, but nothing was really serving me. And I think I felt more so stuck. Like the job is great, but it's keeping me in this place where I want to move and branch out and meet new people. And can I do this job somewhere else? The answer is no. You know, like that's where the job was. It's not something I could at the time. This is pre-COVID. You couldn't take jobs remote as easily as you can now. So it was an anchor. The job was great, but it was an anchor to a place that I felt like I had outgrown.
Right.
I have outgrown this place and the people around me, and I want to meet new people and I want to grow just in all aspects of my life, that I'm not getting anything out of being here. So I would say that was like the biggest pull, was not necessarily the job. The hardest part was leaving that job. But
Right.
it was like, if I say goodbye to this job, I can say yes to other opportunities in other places, and there will always be other opportunities. So yeah, the lifestyle, realizing that that was not going to be a lifestyle that was going to work for me, came once I said bye to it and realized, okay, I need to move somewhere else. So that was the biggest pull for me, was where I was located, I think. And I remember calling my dad. Again, I'm 21 years old, and I have to call my father and tell him that I'm leaving a job that has like X, Y, and Z. And I called him after the fact because I knew he would have talked me out of it. So I put in my 2 weeks, and then I went home and I called my dad and I was like, I'm going to go move to the Outer Banks and be a lifeguard for $10 an hour. It was probably a little bit more than that, but I was like 11.50 an hour, and I'm gonna lifeguard on the beach. Okay, I'll call you later. Bye. And like, I didn't even give him a chance to say anything because I knew he was gonna know what I already knew, which was that that was crazy.
Right.
Like, how are you going to say no to all these opportunities lining up perfectly for you? But the answer is, I'm not happy where I'm at. I need to do something different. And slowly but surely, the chips just like kept falling. And I remember being immensely happier, like the second that I moved on and moved forward. And I realized, okay, it wasn't just the place, it was also the lifestyle. So it kind of all came in one big happy circle, but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the courage to be like, this is not serving me in the phase of life that I'm in right now.
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much of what you're sharing, just like, I mean, I've definitely been there myself, where there I am with the job that, you beat out all the other applicants and pension benefits, clear
Yeah.
trajectory.
Yeah.
This is the thing that your parents tell other people at the Christmas table of like,
Oh, yeah.
they like pass out your business card because they're just so proud of you.
Yeah.
And you have to tell them that you're going to take a risk. You have to tell them, which again, you're not asking for permission from your parents, but
Right.
so many ways, whether you're again 21, 41, 51, it's our sounding board, our people around
Yeah.
us where we're saying, like, hey, I'm about to do something that nobody knows how this is going to go.
Yeah. This could
And
go very poorly.
right,
I was afraid of the ocean. I was not a strong swimmer. I was like, I haven't worked out in over a year. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I love the Outer Banks and I know that I'm happy when I'm there. So I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna push myself out of my ultimate comfort zone and I'm gonna do this. And they were like, I remember everyone in my family, because we always came to the Outer Banks. So that this is like our happy place here. And they're
sure.
like, you're crazy. And they love me and they support me, but they were like, you are absolutely out of your mind. This is never going to work. And I'm like, okay, you might be right, but I'll figure it out when I get there. And it
Well,
worked. It worked out. I did that job for 6 years. So yeah, I mean, it became that full throttled me into a whole nother version of myself that I didn't even know I was capable of. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't try.
right.
So
We try to talk ourselves out of it. And you know what? There's also a truth. Sometimes our loved ones try to talk us out of it. And it comes from a place of love, you know, because they want something that is guaranteed or safe or predictable, or
yeah,
frankly, sometimes like, oh, well, my parents did that job or my brother did
yeah,
that job, and therefore like they know it. So
yeah,
our people often, it's very common for them to be like, oh, wait, hold on a second. As
yeah,
you're like ready to do your leap, but wait. Well, do
yeah.
you know what's going to happen next? So I don't know what's going to happen
Yeah.
next. But what I do
Sometimes
need
your
is you to be
family,
on.
sometimes your family as your support system, yeah, they're going to give you that tough love. They're going to tell you, and that might be one of those those sounding noises of excuses of why not to do something. Not because they don't care about you and they don't love you. They do that because they love you. They want you to stay in your comfort zones because they love you and they don't want you to fall, right? As a mom now, I totally get it. I'm like, I don't want my kid to get hurt. I don't want him to fall ever. But that's how you grow and learn. So you have to have your family support system that's going to love you and pick you back up if you do fall. But then you also have to have a different support system that's not so close to home. You have to have those friends that are going to hear your crazy ideas. I have a few friends that I've had my whole life that I ran this by, and they were like, "You're crazy. Do it. You should do it." And I'm like, "I know, right? Like, that's insane, right?" They're like, "Yeah, you should do it." I'm like, "I'm going to do it." So you need both, you know? You
Yeah.
have to have the friends that support your crazy ideas and then the family that's going to pick you up when those ideas crash in your face. Either way, you're going to learn from it and you're going to grow. And I think that's the biggest way we pull ourselves out of things is by learning and failing and failing and failing. If you hit it on the nail the first time, that's great, but chances are you're going to struggle through it, but you're going to learn so much about yourself as you do that.
Right. Well, this is hysterical because you're saying, okay, I'm going to leave this super secure, upper mobility job that I've worked so stinking hard for,
Yeah.
and the one that like, you beat out other applicants to do, and here
Oh
you
yeah.
are, guaranteed future, and you're going to go and become a lifeguard, right? Which is the job that they would have thought that you would have had maybe during college, but
Maybe during
you're
college, yeah.
maybe during college. Um, you're not that strong of a swimmer. So you're not telling us like, oh, I swam all through high
Yeah.
school and college, and then I'm going to go become a lifeguard. No, there's literally no signs that this is actually going to work out, but it's just like
No.
you're pulled to this direction. And
Hmm.
there you are, you answer that call. And as you have shared with us, like 6 years later into doing it, it's like that was something that was still working for you. But I'm
Yeah.
curious, like for the people that are listening, that they have that wild idea that doesn't make a damn bit of sense whatsoever. There's absolutely no evidence. They were never a swimmer in college. Like they just there's nothing about this that makes any sense. And walk them through that Geronimo to do the thing because it obviously wasn't easy. It's not as if you went out there and like became Michael Phelps. Like that's not what happened,
No.
right? But how
Um,
did it
I
unfold?
would say just do it. You just have to do it. You just have to take that leap. You have to believe in yourself. If you want it enough and you're motivated enough to do it, to take that leap, commit to it and do it. Because I took the leap. I put my 2 weeks in. I called the job and got in, made sure I had all my stuff lined up for the Outer Banks for lifeguarding while I was on my lunch break on my 2 weeks at my other job. I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna be there. They're like, are you coming? I'm like, yep. They're like, can you pass all the tests? I'm like, yep. Like, maybe we'll see. I think so. I swam every day, twice a day for a month leading up, and I went and I worked my butt off. It was not easy. It did not just like fall into place for me. It was the hardest summer I have had. Um, but it was also probably the best summer, like one of the best summers of my life. Like I met my friends that were in my wedding. I have done this job for 6 years and then branched into another job from that. I learned so much about like the medical field and public safety. But no, to say that that was an easy summer or to say that going into lifeguarding with no experience, I was the worst one in my rookie class. I probably cried like every single PT that we did. I was the one crying. I blew my own whistle, like we wear whistles. I blew my own whistle for help during a PT one time. It was ridiculous. Like I was so far in, like I was in over my head so much, but I look back and if I didn't do that, I would be nowhere near where I am now. And
Right.
so yes, I would say if they're in that spot where they're like, I want to do this. I have a crazy idea. I have no experience. Maybe you have a little bit of experience, which hopefully for your sake you do, because it might make things a little easier for you. But if you're in that position, whether it's a small business, whether it's a career, whether it's anything you're doing, anything you're thinking about, If you want it enough, you will do it and you will push every single day. And it's not going to be easy, but that's the best part. If it was easy, you would probably still feel stuck. You wouldn't feel challenged enough to really fully grow or know if it was for you. So that summer was challenging to say the least. And I still get jokes from people who were in my rookie class. Like my friends still rag on me about that summer, but it was the turning point of a lot of things for me. So, yeah, I would say you just have to do it and fully commit. Don't try it for a week and then go, oh, this is hard. There were a million times where I could have been like, what have I done? This was really hard. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out. Let me go back to my old job. No, you stay and you stick through it because you're going to have that support system pushing you through. And week by week, you'll find a whole summer goes by and then a whole winter. And then next thing you know, you're moving. And if you stick with it and you commit to it, you'd be surprised at like what unfolds in front of you.
I think that commitment word couldn't be said enough and couldn't be said loud enough. And the fact of like even taking it season by season, where you're just like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this month. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
for this summer. I'm gonna um
Yeah.
and yes, I can't emphasize enough what you're talking about when it comes to commitment. And for anybody listening, or for everybody listening, uh, when Jess said that she made the decision, right there she is on her lunch break of her career job that she works so stinking hard for, like talking to the lifeguard staff, and she's, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm gonna pass all those tests, no problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, I'm gonna pass those tests, no problem, cross my fingers. Then you hit the pool and there you were swimming and
Yeah.
doing something toward that commitment. And I think that that's something that we all have to think about is what are your laps? What's
Yeah.
your swim? What is it that you need to do to embody the commitment to something that you're doing that you've never done before?
You have to dedicate yourself. It has to be you. It can't be anybody else. It can't be anybody else's decision. It has to be your determination that pushes you into those uncomfortable situations. And then you have to stay determined in that. It's the hardest thing to do. Most people back out or quit or don't want to do it because they feel discomfort. And when you feel discomfort, you immediately retreat. You have to push through that because that's where all the glory is on the other side, is in that and past that discomfort. So yeah, it has to come from you. You have to be determined. Like you make a decision and you have to go head first into it. There was no way I wasn't going to, I was not going to quit that job, move, leave, and not pass those tests. And then every week, you're right. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to get through the season. No, it was like, I'm going to get through the next PT and hope that I can make it to the next PT and the next one. And every single one got a little bit easier. The more exposure you have, the more you put yourself into that, it gets a little bit easier every time. If I quit that first week, I wouldn't have anything that I have today. So yeah, it does come from the want and the desire can be there, the idea can be there, but it does fall on you and your determination to like stick with something. You have to be motivated and determined to not fall back when it gets hard.
Right. Or think that you have to have all the answers before you do the thing. And I
Yeah,
think
no, you
that's
definitely don't.
right. You can't. You
Yeah,
won't. There's really well, the big secret is that no one really knows. Like
yeah.
and yes, I hope that neurosurgeons do know all of it. Everything that they
Right.
need to know, I hope they know it. But the truth is, like a lot of times we are making it up as we go along. And I
Yeah,
would imagine even neurosurgeons, they go in and they have a plan, and then something doesn't happen according to plan, but they trust themselves that they will figure out
to
how.
adjust.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And I mean, even as you're talking, it's like bringing me right back to 2012, 2013, when I left my career, the one that the pension, the benefits, the whole nine, and I started a business. And as I've shared on the pod in different times, I mean, Jess, I never had any like owning of a business before that. The only thing I ever did was sell lemonade, and I didn't even make lemonade. I made mud with rocks and sticks and leaves because I thought, well, lemonade's already totally played out.
right.
And my neighbor gave me $5, so I closed shop because I was just like, well, I made $5. Clearly, this works.
This
And
was
then,
it for me.
yes, and then I think I bought like candy buttons up the street at the drugstore. Um, but I had no business having a business.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been a psychotherapist for years. I know how to help people, but I had absolutely no clue what it was
Yeah.
like to run a business. But you just do the laps.
Yeah.
You do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And at least I found that from doing that, I built these muscles that like the curveballs that would come my way, I knew I would figure it out because,
Yeah.
well, I've kind of figured out all this stuff. I've done
Yeah.
this many laps so far. I'll be able to do that. And that's a fortification that, like you said before, nobody can do it for you.
Yeah. It has to be a you decision. And I like what you said about you're never going to know. You're never going to know how it's going to turn out. You can't plan for that. As somebody who is very type A, I am very OCD. I love to plan. I'm also very spontaneous. And those two things, they collide, right? Any kind of personality test that my job has put me through, any kind of anything, I'm the two things that make no sense that combine together. I am like type A, OCD, organized, but then I'm constantly like spontaneously putting myself in positions where you cannot have a plan. You have to just let that go and see where your chips fall. So you have to be a little bit of the two because obviously it takes the planning to come up with the idea and to get all the little fine tunes in place. If you're going to move, if you're going to, I don't even know, stack all these things to make it happen, you have to be a planner. But then once you get there, you kind of have to let it just fall out on its own. And that can be really, really hard in any phase that you're in anything that you're doing. You have to let the chips at a certain point fall where they may and just hope that you figure it out as you go.
Right.
So
Right,
yeah,
right.
I would say just anything you're doing, it's constantly pulling yourself out of where you were, getting kind of back on the saddle and being like, this may or may not work out. I did X, Y, and Z to get me on the saddle, and this might not go well, but at least I tried. And if it doesn't, then I can learn from that and take that when I try again and again and again. You
Right.
have to be willing to try again and again and again. Otherwise, you're just going to stay where you are. You're never going to move.
Right, 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 right. And it takes me back to the parking lot after that picture, and there we are, like, at least me and the one guy next to me crouched down, and it's like, well, we got to get back up again. And I was like, well, here I go.
Yep.
I remember saying, here I go, and just like here, because with anything, it is a here I go. And I know that you and I were even talking about it last week, where there are so many metaphors that we find in other elements of our life that help to
Yeah.
support like what we're doing and where we're going and how we are allowing the unfolding while we follow the breadcrumbs of what's next.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6 years of lifeguarding, and that led us to, like you said, now fast forward, dun da da, here she is. Like she's running this running club. She works in the medical field. She's married, has kids, is in her mom era. 21-year-old you didn't leave Homeland Security knowing what
Yep.
today you would look
Right.
like, but it's this
Yeah.
unfolding.
So, so yeah, I would say I just started once I left and I became ocean rescue and I lived here. I didn't even end up doing that for that one. I did it one season and then I went into the fall. I had like the craziest fall guarding experience ever. And then I was like, okay, I'm going somewhere new now. I ended up moving after that fall to Hawaii. I went with no plan. I had like nothing lined up. I'm just crazy. I don't know. I like to plan, but then I like to be spontaneous. It makes no sense. So I up and moved to Hawaii, kind of started out there doing whatever it was. I was like, what career can I do? What should I do here? What can I do there? Who can I meet? Um, I lived there for almost a year and then COVID happened and brought me right back here. So I would like to say that, chips just kept falling in my favor, But they didn't. I still had to, I did that season. I loved that. That was the best experience I could have done for myself. I found out I loved being outdoors. I loved an active lifestyle. Um, and I jumped and took that to Hawaii. Hawaii didn't work out, right? Other things, other factors that we have no control over. A worldwide pandemic happened and you have to shift. So that called me back here, which was fine. I was happy to come back. They were lifeguarding again. So I stayed in that and I kept doing that for many, many years. That led me to EMS and public service, and lifeguarding became something that I started as just like a fun summer job to meet people and be outdoors and push myself. And it turned into, okay, wait, I like this job because of the job now. It wasn't like over the years that social aspect of it and the fun aspect of it morphed into the public safety aspect of it. The ability to talk to people who come here on vacation and they come with a full car of people, mom, dad, grandma, kids, everybody. And I got to make sure that they left with everybody in their car going back over that bridge. That was like a purpose for me. That created this drive and love and passion for public safety. So to see that, okay, they could have left without that family member, but because I knew what I was doing and I knew the medical side of things, they get to go home together. And unfortunately, that's not always the case for some people who come here. Sadly, it's not. And so it created that passion for me. I laugh because everything I do, I've had vastly no experience in doing it. I don't know why. I just find myself in these situations, but I think it's because I enjoy discomfort. I enjoy pushing myself into uncomfortable things and seeing if I can learn and grow from it. So I could not, for the life of me, have passed a science class at VCU. You put me in Bio 101, and I was failing in the first week. Organic chemistry, anything that included like the medical field, I was horrible at. I could not do it. But fast forward a few years later, and now I'm a paramedic working for EMS in Dare County because that's where the chips led me. So I would say you learn by failing, you learn by putting yourself in uncomfortable positions what you're passionate about, what you're interested in. I would have never seen myself in any kind of medical profession. 21-year-old me is cackling who can't pass Bio 101 and changed her major to undecided because she didn't want to take a science class. That was 21-year-old me. 30-year-old me is now a paramedic. That is absurd. But you only learn by like trial by error, kind of. Right. I would have never thought I would be passionate about anything in the medical field. But when you tie in the public safety aspect of it, you tie in the ocean rescue side of things, it grew to me working for EMS. So you don't know until you pull yourself out of that hole. And if you talk negatively, if I kept telling myself, I can't pass Bio 101, I can't do this, I would have never been here. You have to pull yourself out of that like negative self-talk and almost tell yourself, I can do anything that I put my mind to doing. If I'm willing to try, I can do just about anything.
Right.
If you look at everything I've done, you'll see that to be true because I've had no experience in any of it. I don't know how, but I think it's because I just am determined to not give up when I am trying something. I commit to it. So,
right.
Yeah, that's what led me to EMS was just ocean rescue, kind of growing through the public safety side of things.
Right,
But
right. Well, and I think that, there's so many important points that you're bringing here, but the word I keep hearing over and over within myself listening to you is evolution. Like embracing the fact that we are always evolving. And just as
always
we read it,
changing.
right, just as we read a novel and there's things that are changing and unfolding in that story, the same is true for ourselves. So yeah, I hear you. Like, here you go. Okay, I'm going to take the next leap. I'm going to Hawaii. And I bet in that experience, like you learned more about yourself and
Yeah.
self-reliance and the relationship that you have with yourself. So that, yeah, when a global pandemic hits that nobody predicted, that nobody knew how that was going to all shake out. Like there
Right.
you are able to make your next move because you trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning how to travel on your own and kind of be on your own in that phase of life, it led me to being comfortable coming back and being like, okay, well, now I can go back to lifeguarding. They're working that summer. That's the only thing that's not shut down. I can meet new people again. I can put myself in that position again. Um, yeah, you just have to trust yourself as you go through that you are going to get through it and you are going to be okay. Everything's going to slowly work itself out. You
Right.
have to have the trust there in your own ability to stay committed to something. If you know you're the type of person that can't commit to anything, you're going to tell yourself that, and then you're going to naturally fall back. You have to tell yourself, like, no, this version of me commits and is going to stick it out, even when it's hard. So yeah, I think a lot of people had to learn that with COVID because the whole everything changed. I mean, and it's we're still seeing the effects of that.
Right.
So
Right.
it definitely it's definitely the growth, but it's more the commitment that's
Right.
going to pull you out.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a time when the rules of the game completely changed and no one knew what they were. It's as if like, I don't know, you had a board game and the directions went through the shredder, right? You're
Yeah.
just like, okay, what are we
You
doing?
had to let the wind take you wherever it was going to take you.
Yes,
I
yes.
laugh because during that time, everything went remote. And I was like, And every year since, and I make this joke all the time with my husband, every year I email or I text my boss from that Homeland Security job. And I'm like, so need anybody remote? I'm like, so need anybody remote? And they're like, no, Jessica, we don't, we're good. We're okay. It's been 6 years, been 7 years now. You got to stop messaging me. But it's funny because the rules changed. Like that whole company ended up going remote. I'm like, you could take me back. I'm right here. And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, that's fair. That is fair. But I'll still message them every year. We'll We'll see. Maybe next year I'll be working Homeland Security remote somewhere. Who knows? But
My goodness.
that's what I mean. Who knows, right? Like you never know. You have to pull yourself out of those ruts and put yourself in those positions.
Right. It's taking that next right step. That's
Yeah.
next right step and knowing that again, it doesn't mean that that next right step is your forever step and nothing will change. No,
Right.
you're going to take another step after that. So
Yeah.
that brings us full circle to what happened this morning.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I feel like I did ocean rescue years, like it's been a couple years now. So obviously my family, I work EMS. My husband is in charge of the ocean rescue for Nags Head. So we are a big public service kind of full circle family. And he's still running ocean rescue. So while I'm not doing it and I'm on the ambulance now, there are times, especially now postpartum. I mean, it's been 2 years. I'm not like freshly postpartum. Like I gotta stop saying that, but we all change at different times throughout postpartum. So I feel like I've just kind of come out of that a year to 2 years in. I'm like, okay, I can get back to doing things that I used to do. I'm ready. I can do this. And so I will force myself to go to the PTs that they do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I put myself, it's like going backwards almost into a position of discomfort, something that I used to be able to do without thinking about it because I did it for 6 years. Now it's been 2, 3 years. I haven't done it. And I'm going back and I'm forcing myself into the water. And every time I swim out with these guys, I'm like, they're all so in shape. They do it every day, how I used to be. And I'm like, I'm just happy I'm out here. Like this was a win. Just putting myself in this position was a win. However, when you're in it, it does not feel like a win. It feels like a OMG, what did I just sign myself up for? Again, I felt like I was back in my rookie year of ocean rescue.
Blowing the whistle.
Oh my gosh, blowing my own whistle for help, being rescued by my own like by the staff. Yeah, that was like such a drastic turning point, that story. But yeah, this morning I went out, did the training with them. The surf was clean but big. I mean, it was like really big today. And I got there and I had my old fins that are like have rust on them and I'm like maybe maybe I could just go home. I could easily just go get a coffee and decide that I'm not getting paid to be here like these guys. I'm not forced to be here like I used to be. That's pretty big out there. I don't really want to put myself in that position. And then I inevitably, like I always do, was like, well, you'll regret it if you don't do it. You need to get back out there. You need to try again. You want to get back in shape. You want to do all these things. I started listing off all the reasons why I should
Yeah.
rather than the many reasons I could have created as to why I should not.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I went out there. We did like a little warm up run, and then we did little in and outs. So you go kind of swim out with your fins, you go under past the break, you gather up, and then you swim back in. The getting out for me is never the scary part anymore. I know how to get under the waves. I've been through the training, I've done it before. Like I'm smart enough to know the conditions. It's the coming back in with the waves that are like bulldozing on top of you that is just still like gut wrenchingly terrifying to me. Other people that work there, they love that. They body bash, they body surf, they get all excited for it. It's fun to them. When you haven't been in the water in 2 to 3 years, those big waves are terrifying. So I am proud of myself for going. I am proud of myself for doing. I did cry at least once while I was out there. It's fine. I looked at one of the rookies who was out there who was next to me in the water. I got like 3 waves on the head and I came up for air, and this rookie is like on his backstroking in, and I'm crying. I'm like aggressively hyperventilating and crying. And he looks over at me with just like a face of fear. And I was like, it's fine. I was like, it's fine. You're going to be okay. Like, I'm okay. I've been in this position before. It will be fine. And he's like, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, but
Oh
no,
my
it's
goodness.
it's the nature of the game. Like things that you do out of your comfort zone are going to terrify you, whether that's physical exercise, whether that's like getting back into running. You used to run and you haven't in a while, whether that is bringing an idea to life, meeting with somebody to discuss a career, pressing apply on an application. Like you are going to be terrified. That is the best part, because when you get out, you might be crying, but you won't regret the fact that you did it.
100%.
So that was like I got out and I started laughing. I was crying and then I was laughing because I was like, I'm going to talk about on a podcast today getting back up. And I literally just forced myself into the ocean and cried all the way back in, but at least I did it.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
you have to do it. Otherwise you're never going to know. You're just going to stay in the wondering, right?
Absolutely. And you couldn't have said it better, Jess. Like you have to get in the water. You have to press apply. You have to put yourself out there. You have to make that phone call. You have to
Right.
put the sneakers on. You
A
have to.
million different circumstances. You could be in a long-term relationship and find yourself out of that relationship at any age, right? It could have been a high school relationship that you were in for years, or a marriage, or a college relationship, and now you have to learn how to be on your own again. You just have to take it one day at a time and try. If you're willing to try, you'll find yourself like slowly pulling out of this rut that you're in and learning so much about yourself in the process. Like
Absolutely.
I see so many of my friends in my phase of life, or in their young 20s, mid 20s, early 30s, whatever age they're in, that get out of a relationship or leave a job and they don't know how to be without that person or without that career that was their identity. You're not going to figure out who you are if you don't put yourself out there. You have to be willing to like put yourself out there.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. All right, everybody. So Rise Run is coming on their first anniversary. Dun, dun, dun.
1 year.
I love it. I love it. Again, created by that inspiration between putting yourself out there and also being met by community, right? Putting
Yeah.
some putting ourselves a little pressure on ourselves to show
Yeah.
up, that place of accountability. And that's what it is. So you got to find your calibration. You got to figure out what your steps are, your laps are, your apply button is, whatever it is. Go get outside of that comfort zone because that is the place that you're growing. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. And then all the details you guys will be able to find if you want to check out Rize Run Club or just like watch their Instagram for almost a year before you actually show up, like I did.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
I'll put all the information in the show notes, but I'm so glad that we had this conversation today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Mind Rise podcast. Check out our show notes for details and to get in on the latest at Mind Rise. Visit us on Instagram at the Mind Rise